You're listening to the Everyday Astrology Podcast. I'm Hilary Scott, your astrologer, and I'm excited to bring you an interview that I did with Mr. David Weiss. He is the creator of the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, which is a fabulous resource to research all things flat Earth. And I thought it would be wonderful to have him on the show because he really can answer any single question that you could possibly ask to clarify whether the Earth is round or flat. So it was a most interesting talk, and I hope you enjoy. Let's talk about the flat Earth. This is like super exciting. This is new to me. I've been a flat earther for like only 6 weeks, so there's so much to learn. But
baby flat earther.
Yeah, baby flat. But it really, like, at one point, I think there was maybe like a 6-month, like somebody introducing me from a guy from the UK. He's like, what about this? Doesn't the sun seem close? He was very gentle about it, very kind of wise to the way he did it. And then it was you, actually. I was watching a video, an interview that you did, and all the questions you answered and everything. I was like, I'm a flat earther. That's it. Like it just clicked for me. So what about you? How did you become a flat earther? And was it like a click, or was it a gradual revelation?
Well, I started out very resistant. I wouldn't even look at a 1-minute video. I banned people from our social media for even suggesting that I look.
Wow.
And then on research that I trust said, Dave, I think the Earth is flat. And so I went into it with a closed mind. I said, I'm going to disprove flat Earth. I'm going to prove the globe. There's 1 million proofs of the globe, and there's no proof of flat Earth.
Yeah.
And that's because my belief on what flat Earth was a mind-controlled belief, a fake belief.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the heliocentric system was. Most people don't, because if they did, they go, that's ridiculous. Yeah. And then I came out the other side going, Earth is flat, and everything changed from there.
Yeah. Were you always, I wonder, that's why I wanted to look at your chart. Like, I wonder if there's something, because I've always been like somebody who is digging for the truth all the time. I want to know the real truth. Like, it was a part of my nature to begin with.
I have very few specific memories when I was a toddler. But besides hitting a kid in the head with a block because he took the block that I needed for my castle, I remember when our kindergarten teacher was teaching us about gravity and swinging a bucket of water around. And I actually said to him, I said, that doesn't make sense. Doesn't the water have to be on the outside? Because, the water's on the outside. And the teacher with his black beard, I think his name was Mr. Ross. Wow. I don't remember what his name was. And he was like this, and he goes, that's a good point. He goes, but that's how I'm supposed to teach it. So that's how I'm teaching it.
Wow.
And he said, you keep asking questions. You're a smart kid.
Oh, that's nice. Well, at least he encouraged your questioning.
Yeah.
Instead of shut you down, which I think happens usually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So did you, I remember having, like you said, I didn't know, I just accepted that the Earth was a ball because indoctrination, right?
We're told by people that we trust. We're sent to school, and our teachers are gods to us.
Yeah.
And whatever they tell us is true.
Yeah.
And think about it. Little kids, what do they learn about? They learn about dinosaurs and asteroids wiping out dinosaurs. So that instills fear in a kid.
Yeah.
They learn, you get the first worksheet, the early worksheets you're taking home are, hey, the moon goes around the earth goes around the sun. And that's like the first, very young age. So they're just programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts. That's nuts. Like the level of deception and like how thorough it is through our entire lives, through everything, is crazy. Like, it's hard. People don't believe it. People are like, no, they can't. That many people can't be lying. Right? That's like usual.
That's the number one excuse they have, that we can't keep a secret about anything.
Right.
And that's a myth. People can be controlled. People will be controlled to the point where even on their deathbed, they won't make a confession because it would cost too much.
Right. Yeah. Or like there's people, even if they're threatened, right? Their loved ones are threatened. They're like bought off. Like I'm sure there's a lot of ways.
It's beyond, they're so controlled. And there are whistleblowers, but you don't hear them. We have pilots that have spoken out and they get fired, and silenced. And celebrities have spoken out, and then they retract because they lose all their sponsors.
Right. Like Joe Rogan. Wasn't Joe Rogan? He was one that was
total sellout.
Yeah. He was like, oh, there was no moon landing and everything. And then all of a sudden there was definitely a moon landing. So something happened there. It's an odd shift.
He had Neil deGrasse Tyson on, there's no way people went to the moon. It became a meme. There's no way.
Wow.
That was a Joe Rogan comment. Then he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on, got these huge contracts, and there's no way it was a hoax. There's no way.
Wow.
He even said, I would lie to my mother,
It'd be tempting.
For the right reason.
I mean, if they're like, here's, $10 million, like buy your beautiful ranch or whatever. I'd be like, okay,
that's my biggest fear, that they're going to come to me and say, here's your Caribbean house where you can kite surf off your own beach, and we'll even give you some chickens for your garden. And I'd be like, all right, send me on my way.
I would like the chickens too. Yeah. That's the thing is you better get out there and speaking up as much as you can before they offer you that. But then they'll probably wipe all your information off the face of the earth too. Right. Like, especially
whatever.
Today.
I joke about it, but who knows what I would do.
Yeah. Well, you don't know for sure. You don't think you might take it.
Well, it depends on how big the offer was.
Yeah. Right.
and what restrictions came with it, because there's people in this world that aren't here to wake up, like my brother and sister. They're not there. We never even discuss any of this because their mission, their journey is not about seeing reality. Ugh. So we don't discuss it.
Did you have, I wonder, that's something that I've noticed. I mean, I've always kind of had that, I've always kind of been, I'm like an anti-vaxxer, and I didn't vaccinate my animals or my child, or for years
You mean you're vax educated?
Yes, exactly. That's a nice way to put it. Because it was actually with my dogs. I got this natural healing book for dogs, and it talked about how dogs used to live twice as long and how we're poisoning them with vaccines. And it just clicked for me. And I was like, no way I'm vaccinating my child or myself. So yes, I'm vaccine educated. It's terrifying what happens with vaccines. It's terrifying what's happening with this vaccine that's going around right now. So there is a lot of controversy.
I can tell you this, that there's no amount of money that they can give me to take that vaccine, even if it starts with a B.
Yeah. What do you mean if it starts with a B?
Billions, billions.
Oh yeah, billions. Okay.
There's nothing.
Yeah, me neither.
Don't tempt me with a house in the Caribbean. Leave me alone. A good internet connection. I'm good.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it either for any amount of money, or I wouldn't let my family. But it's really been a difficult process because I've watched everybody just fall for it, hook, line, and sinker, and loved ones are going to go get it, and everybody's excited, just what the news tells them to do, right? It's very disturbing. And I wonder,
the mind control is amazing.
Yeah. And it's so irritating because you end up looking like a crazy person, or people kind of refer to you as crazy or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it is infected with cartoons. How do you deal with that? That's something I wonder. Even, I'm having a really hard time that my hubby is he's just no, it can't be true. But he won't go look. I'm prone to research.
Here's the thing. I say a flat earther and a non-flat earther, that's a difficult relationship. There's a tension there that's going to be difficult, but you have the advantage.
Why?
There is zero chance that you will become a globe earther.
It's true.
There's a high chance that he will become a flat earther.
That's nice.
One day, right?
Yeah.
Because the truth is the truth.
Yeah.
And once you see it, so you can, you're familiar with my app?
Yes, I have your app. I love your app. I read it every morning. I look at a new video.
So you watch the new video and maybe say, hey, can you just watch the daily video each day with me? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And we don't even have to talk about it.
That would probably be tempting for him because he's like, why? I got my flat earth mat in the mail yesterday. I'm like, it's here, my flat earth mat. And he's like, oh, it's just so much because I'm kind of relentless about it.
Let it go. You're planting seeds and they're going to sprout, and he's just being resistant. Let him have his journey. He'll be here.
That's good.
He's on his way.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Do you just when you first learned, did you find that you had to that you wanted to share it with, look at you now, you're sharing it with the world. So you must have had this urge to share, right? This desire to share with people.
So when I started, it was much tougher because you mentioned flat earth and people you're insane and laugh at you and ridicule you and ostracize you. Now you mentioned flat earth, they're like, I heard something about that. And they're asking questions. So the conversation has gone up tremendously. It is easy to become a flat earther now and discuss it with others. Right. The problem is people learn a little bit and they go, oh my God, I get it. It's flat. And then they start telling their friends, and their friends will ask them questions that they haven't addressed yet.
Right.
I always tell people, just sit back, keep watching the daily videos, go through all the questions in the app, and then bring it up with your friends.
Yeah.
Right. But people get so excited, they talk to people right away.
That's
because when you learn this, you want to tell people right away.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is just make it a question. Hey, have you thought about this? Have you looked at that? You know, how does this make sense? How come, you know, the globe math says at 100 miles, there should be 6,600 feet of curvature.
Right.
How can a Navy ship light up another ship with a laser?
Yeah. That one's a no-brainer, right? Like that, to me, those experiments that people do, I'm like, well, there it is. Like, it's done. It's proven. But the like I mentioned in the email, the circumnavigating the Antarctica. And well, it's there. People have done it. People are circumnavigating it. That's what hubby says. And I'm like, but it's not, I don't think so. So
no, they haven't.
Yeah.
And the ones that have gone 60,000+ miles.
Right. So they're just going around the rim, basically, right?
And that's bigger than the equator. You know, the equator is only 24,000.
Right.
Excuse me. But there is a sailboat race that goes at like 50 degrees south. And these are high tech, you know, super fast sailboats. But then they are using GPS to tell them how far they went. Mm-hmm. So if you calculate the time, they're going an average of like 2 or 3 miles an hour. And these boats go 25 miles, 30 miles an hour.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they think, or they're just lying.
Yeah.
But when you add it up, it makes no sense, because it's not like driving a car where you have a wheel touching the ground. You're in the water. The only thing you have is GPS.
Right. Yeah.
And that's controlled by NASA.
Right. And it's all like, what do you think is the most, see, I'm already like on board. So I probably don't have the same, like, it's not the same that when you have to convince somebody that, because I've watched a lot and I understand a lot. Well, I understand barely any. What I realized is I didn't understand anything that was going on with the globe. Like, I remember being a kid or hearing numbers, oh, the sun is 93,000 miles or 93 million miles away. And I'd be like, how do they know that? Like, I always felt suspicious of any of that kind of information. Like I always did. So that's ridiculous that it's supposed to be that far away to me now. So how do you, like, what is the thing that you think people should know, or the thing that helps open people's minds about it right away?
The flight routes are very interesting. The fact that we can see too far, you know, just explaining the heliocentric model is insanity.
It seems ridiculous.
I mean, the Big Bang is everything, nothing exploded, created everything. Then all of the rocks turned into perfect spheres. And then all of the gases turned into bigger spheres and lit on fire. And they left a vacuum in between. How do you have a ball of gas in a vacuum without a container?
Right. It's just like beyond comprehension, right?
It's beyond stupidity.
Yeah. But then they say, well, it's beyond our knowing, right? But then how did you find out the 93 million miles thing, or even the circumference of the Earth?
Yeah, they assumed Venus was the size of Earth and then did some calculations when it transited the sun. And they assumed it's the size of the Earth. That's like saying, you know, you have $1 million in the bank and we're going to double it every day for a few days. And now you have $16 million in the bank.
So it was just an assumption.
No. The assumption, you know, was that you had $1 million in the bank. So the entire thing is wrong. The last total eclipse we have, some amateur astronomers did some calculations with the shadow size and the moon. I have to look into it farther, but they said, hey, the sun has to be farther, therefore it has to be bigger. Well, if that's the case, then the moon has to be bigger and farther, which means that the Earth's orbit has to be bigger, which means that every other planet has to be different. The whole thing spirals out of control.
Right.
And it kind of just disappeared out of articles. It was like, you know, people were talking about it and it's gone.
Wow.
It's gone.
Just wiped out. I was surprised, like, how that was my other thing was, well, if it's not true, why are they hiding it? If the Earth isn't flat, why are they hiding it? Why are they ridiculing it? Why are they like making fun of it like that? There's that meme with, I think maybe you made it. It's on your app with Obama saying like, we don't have time for a Flat Earth Society meeting or whatever.
A meeting
Yeah.
of the Flat Earth
And then
Society,
there's
right.
the Flat Earth, like right on the logo right there. So if it's not true, then why are they hiding it? Like that's pretty crazy.
I mean, they're hiding it because it's the most important secret. I mean,
Yeah.
the UN, all the agencies that control the world have flat Earth maps on them.
Right in our faces, just like they're supposed to, right? They're supposed to tell us what
right
they're
in our
doing.
faces. Right.
Ugh, that's just ridiculous. So
I have a question. So
yeah.
behind you in your beautiful kitchen, you have some hanging lights that are kind of spherical. How come your floor isn't spherical?
Well, you're right. It should be spherical if everything made sense, right? I mean,
Well,
it should
I'm
make
just showing
sense.
the correlation.
Right,
People say they're round. I don't even know if they're round, but the lights in the sky have nothing to do with the shape of the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get that too. And like with astrology, did you look at your chart that I sent you?
I looked at it, but my brain melted like I'm looking at astronomical charts.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense unless you've studied. But really, like the Earth is in the middle, and it just makes perfect sense on a flat Earth. Where I've been reading a flat Earth every astrologer except for Vedic, I guess, because they're reading a different shape of chart. But we're all reading a flat Earth chart. All the astrologers, that's what we read, and it just makes perfect sense that like it's all moving around. We're in the middle, and it's all moving around above us, like. And it does affect us. I've been doing astrology for 25 years now. It's a really long time to see whether it's bullshit or not, right? And there's definitely a correlation between the planets and who we are. Like, have you ever heard of Edgar Cayce?
Of course.
He used to do these readings, and he would channel information about astrology. And he would talk about how we sojourned through the realm of Mars, or we sojourned through the realm of Venus, and or whatever, Saturn or Pluto, and it influenced us. And so it's like an imprint of the energies of that planet somehow that creates kind of who we are.
Yeah, the way I look at it is the lights that we see in the sky, the wandering stars, known as planets, and the stars, and the sun and the moon. These are all energetic projectors of our life. These things are all connected to us. And the way I look at it is we have a soul, and maybe our soul comes from the heavens above, and our soul is a piece of God, and it's connected to the positions of all of these wandering stars. And how that works,
it's kind of magical. That's the magic aspect. I know it works. I've seen it. I've been able to describe people's character and like situations in their life, and all based on the chart. So there's definitely something working. I actually at one point thought like maybe they're like entities, like guardians, or like actual, like the planets are actual beings of some kind.
They're all named after gods.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's still mysterious. I liked what you said about the outer space, and how, because aliens are now they're talking like the governments are like, oh yeah, we're in contact with aliens, right? Like no biggie. We've just been hiding it for all these years. We'll just slip it in there in 2020 when the shit's hitting the fan. But this really made sense to me, this outer space thing, when you talked about it.
It could be like that.
It could be.
Extraterrestrials come from the extra territory, from the outer space across the Earth plane.
Yeah. That's what they're stopping us from going. So that maybe explain a little bit about Antarctica and how we're not allowed to go there and stuff.
Well, Antarctica is the land that surrounds our world pond. All large bodies of water can need a container. Otherwise, they just disappear.
Yeah.
So Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. And maybe it goes on forever. I don't know. Maybe there's other ponds out there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's ringed ponds around us. Maybe there's a dome over us.
Right.
And a dome over the next one, and then over the next one.
Yeah.
And there's other suns out here. One theory is that the outer, this second ring has a sun called Mars and a moon called Venus.
Wow.
Right? Venus has phases like our moon.
Right.
And then out here is a sun called Jupiter, and a sun called Saturn, and a moon called Jupiter.
Wow.
Okay. If you take a glass dome, a a glass dome,
Yeah.
right? You know, those paperweights, and
Yeah.
move a light over it, you see like a little sun in it, right? So here it's hard to see, but I'm moving a pen light straight across, and inside the dome you have this like sun, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we see. And if I move the light farther away, you still see it in the dome. It's just smaller. So maybe that farther one is the sun called Mars.
Right. Jeez, this is so like I really feel like it's like a massive revelation to know this. Like it
resonates with your soul. Your soul knows the truth.
Yeah. And it's just so like, I haven't been as excited about learning something as when I first discovered astrology 25 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, like this works. And what a mystery,
and
right?
It doesn't fade. It doesn't fade. It continues.
I keep learning it all these years. I keep learning. So yeah, there's definitely some truth to it. It's like, and I also felt very, like, I felt like I became more stable, which is crazy. Like just by switching my idea to being on a flat plane than a spinning ball.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that not thinking that you live on a spinning, orbiting, spiraling, corkscrewing ball in the middle of a vacuum, you feel more stable because you think you're on a flat Earth?
Yes, I totally
Standing
do.
on the foundation of the universe?
I feel more grounded.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
It's crazy though that you could be lied to, and that it like literally, like, I mean, it isn't crazy. We see it. I get it. But like that this ridiculous claim keeps us like ungrounded, essentially. I tell
people, go out and sit down and meditate and imagine all of these motions that are going on. And you'll fall over while you're sitting down.
Yeah.
Right. Then clear your head and realize that you're on a stationary plane and everything is rotating above you. And all of a sudden your spirit lifts and you're like, wow, I feel better. I feel good.
Yeah.
So
I definitely do. I like 100% feel better. It's like, and I'm just riveted by it. Like I haven't been like, I just want to learn about, I have a Scorpio.
Where are you located?
I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Okay.
So like out of the city though, kind of like in the suburbs up against the mountains. Why?
I was just I didn't know if you were in the United States, that we're having a conference in South Carolina in a couple weeks.
I would love to come to that, but there's some crazy communist stuff going down in Canada right now. So we can't leave.
And that's why this message is the most important message of our time, because if somehow we get our freedom back, how long can we hold on to it if we're lost in space with our head in a prison? And that prison's the globe. Yeah.
So do you believe in like, I mean, you must, like, you do, right? Like aliens, but maybe they're coming from
extraterrestrials.
Yeah, extraterrestrials. Yeah.
So, there's a great story. You can find it I believe it's in the app under Antarctica, but it's on YouTube, called The Iron Republic.
I think
it's worth a listen to.
Okay.
John the Morgile read it. He read the whole book online, so you can just listen to it.
Oh,
or you
cool.
can buy the book on Amazon or wherever.
Okay.
And it's about a group of people in the 1600s that left because of tyranny and went to the outer space. And there's land out there with an advanced civilization that, this was written in the 1950s by somebody who went out there and got lost after went through Antarctica. And he was talking about, excuse me, technology that we didn't have back then that we're just getting now. Flat screens and electric cars and all sorts of stuff. So
like, that's like I've also been recently, it's in your app too, about Tartaria and the mud floods and stuff, right?
Oh boy.
And so that's another thing, like, what the hell? Like, so like just as recently as not like just over 100 years ago, we even maybe had all this technology and free energy and all of that. Like
there was
what
some
the theory
cataclysm
is, right?
that happened.
Yeah.
In maybe the late 1800s.
Like the pole shift or something.
Not a pole shift.
No, I was going to ask you about pole shifting.
So, there's no pole shift because there's no South Pole.
Yeah, that's right? What I'm wondering. What are they going to, what is that? How does that change?
So I did a talk, it's on my channel, DITRH, called the Outward Flow of Civilizations. And so here's where we live.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this is all just a frozen plain, right? And
Right.
so we live here. The sun circles around, right? And it migrates, between the two tropics. So
Does it turn around as like when it goes? That's what I was
it just
wondering.
goes in a circle.
Or just big circle, little circle at one,
Yeah.
or just like a continuous. Like I wonder, because in astrology, at the equinox, there's like a 3 days where it's not moving, like it doesn't change degrees. It's almost like it stands still. Oh, I lost sound.
It goes out
There.
and then it stops and then it comes back. Let me, oops, there it is. Let me just share this.
Okay.
So right now the sun is over the equator, almost over the equator, right? We're
Right.
almost at the equinox. And in 3 months, it'll be over the Tropic of Cancer.
Right.
So it's closer to us, higher in the sky, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Australia is having their winter, but 6 months later, it goes all the way out to the Tropic of Capricorn. We're having our winter, and it's
Right.
closer, higher in the sky for the people in Australia.
Right.
So what was the question you asked me before that? Because I was going to make a point.
Oh, I asked you about the pole shift.
Yeah. So imagine this. That this is, imagine this whole thing's frozen.
Yeah.
And then a sun is born in the north, and it melts out a puddle. And then the sun starts oscillating here. So it keeps this entire thing melted because it's going all the way around.
Right.
But it's going out here, and it doesn't, this is as far as the sun's heat will melt.
Right.
So here we are. So everyone's living here, Tataria, worldwide civilization.
Right.
The
That's what we were
Aztecs, the
talking about.
Mayans, whatever. And then all of a sudden the sun says, for some reason, I'm going out here now, and I'm only going to migrate here. Right? So
Yeah.
what would happen?
So it's going to circle.
Well, Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. It's huge. All of the ice would melt, and we'd have a massive flood here, a massive worldwide mud flood.
Wow. Yeah.
So now the sun's out here circling around, and it's migrating just here. Okay.
Right.
So all of this freezes over again. Okay. So this
Yeah.
is now frozen. The middle Earth is frozen.
Middle Earth.
And whether it's 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, I don't know. And there's some nomads living there and Eskimos, and they're just barely getting by.
Right.
And it's dark. It's dark. It's just hell.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a new sun is born, right? A new sun.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, oh my God, my savior, the sun.
Right.
Right? So now the new sun is here oscillating.
Yeah.
And so we live here, and we don't even know that there's people out here,
Yeah.
more advanced, longer and older civilization out here. And so it's reset. And then some evil beings here like, hey, we survived this. Let's take charge and hide it from all of these people and make them our slaves.
Yeah.
Let's put them in a prison without walls, and we'll call it a sphere. And whether that's the devil, Satan,
Yeah.
or just some really smart people that have, maybe people lived 1,000 years back then.
Yeah.
And so they're just controlling they don't want us
food,
getting too smart.
Our
They
water,
want us sick. They want, us,
poisoned.
all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So they hijack this world here.
They're like feeding
And
off
then
of us.
they're feeding off of our energy or
Yeah.
fear.
Our fear.
And then if you look into that mud flood stuff and John Levy and there's another guy, I forget the name, I'll look it up in a second, but about the giant trees. Have you gotten there yet?
No.
Yeah.
Exciting. Giant trees.
Once you'll see, like you go in the woods and you see these massive rock ridges.
Yeah.
Those are branches from a tree.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's undeniable at this point. It's
Yeah?
like, yeah.
I've just recently watched Michael Tellinger. He talk about he brought stuff I didn't know. He found pieces of giants and things in Africa that I hadn't heard before. And how also I thought was super cool. Well, not cool necessarily, but how people are pushed into cities and then put into sky rises so that they can harvest the energy like they did with like
That's what they're
churches.
doing now.
Yeah.
You see those ghost cities in China?
No.
China has like, I don't know how many now, dozens or hundreds of gigantic cities, all with massive high rises, and nobody's living in them.
What? Seriously?
Yeah, just look up China ghost cities.
Cities.
They're
Wow.
cities, massive cities with nobody there.
Why did everyone leave?
No, they haven't put them there yet. They're
Oh.
new. They've been building
Whoa.
them like crazy.
And they're like, oh, you guys all got to go here now. And that.
Well, maybe there's going to be a shift in humanity. You know, the Deagle report is saying that in the year 2025, there's only going to be 99 million people in the United States.
So it's like a major kill off right now.
And here's another thing. This is fascinating. There's like websites that, you know, have these crazy predictions, and then all of a sudden the website's pulled down, and then it happens. There was a website about Corona, right? And then just before Corona, it got taken down, right? And then there's people that make these predictions, and all of a sudden they disappear. Well, Deagle just died.
Really?
The other day. Yeah, the Deagle that does the Deagle.com.
Yeah.
Just died the other day.
Like a random like.
Well, he's older. You know, I think
Okay.
he's in his 70s, but
Okay.
Deagle just died. I don't know if it means anything.
Wow. So I'll go look at that website. So there's information about that.
Deagel.com, and
Okay.
then look at countries, and then click the 2025 forecast.
Oh, right.
By the way, Canada is not looking so good. I mean, you guys have how many millions live there?
We have 36 million.
And I think it's going down to 25 or 24 or something like that.
That doesn't surprise me. Like I really do feel that Canada's taken over. The whole world has been taken over, I think, from this whole thing. And it's like the crazy stuff they're doing in Canada right now. I don't know if this is happening in the States, but at first you had to have a test to get on a plane to even come back into Canada, like if you happen to be out. And then it was, not only do you have to have a test, but when you get back in, they take you to this hotel and make you do another test. And they charge you basically $2,000 for 3 days to stay in this hotel, like where you're locked down. You can't do anything.
You do know that you can just walk by them and say, no, I decline.
Yes, I do now. I've seen some examples of people doing that, but most people don't break the rules, right? Like most people
in their head.
Yeah.
The control is in their mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually saw a good video of some guy being like, you don't have to do this. And he was like real, like brave.
Chris, I forget his name, but he's awesome.
Oh yeah.
He's done a lot of good stuff.
It was brave. Like, and I'm glad I saw it. And I hope that people, I talk about it, and I hope that people, I guess I could come to the thing in the when was the flat earth thing?
It's called it's called flatearthfestivals.com, and it's the 26th and 27th of March.
Oh, it's right away. That might be pushing it. And I don't want to get tested with that thing up my nose. Like, I just do not want to be subjected to anything like that. I would run for the hills. I'd run for the hills before I let them do anything to me. Like, and maybe those are the people that's like survive the,
Maybe this is all an intelligence test, and the people that hold out are the people that will make it through this.
I've thought that too. I've actually thought that like it's a way of weeding out the society essentially. Right. So the ones that like refuse it all are going to be, the ones that survive. So
the channel about the rocks is called Hangman 1128, all one word.
Okay.
Hangman 1128. Just watch him and his dog, and they'll point out stuff. It'll blow your mind.
That's incredible. Where is he?
Actually, he is somewhere in the United States, but he's basically, just watch his videos. I mean, I don't even recommend their videos to a lot of people because it's too much.
Right.
For even awake people to handle.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there anything, I wonder, do you know who David Icke is?
Of course.
Like, I remember years ago, I would like listen to the stuff that he talked about. But for me, like whenever he went into the reptilian talk, I just couldn't take it. Like, it was like, that was my limit. But then years down the road, I started to perceive that reality. Like, I was able to be like, oh yeah, like I was perceiving sort of otherworldly beings and things, and it made sense to me. So I wonder, is there a limit for you? Is there like a nope, that's too far?
Good question.
You haven't found it yet?
Everything's too far. But my thing now is I don't just believe. I say, can't rule it out. Can't rule it out.
Yeah, can't rule it out. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
I mean, there's this whole thing about crater Earth, that we're living in a crater on a bigger Earth. I'm not buying it. It's the arguments are too weak, but I'm looking, someone put together a good video, put together I need more information, because I was walking down at the beach and there was a puddle at the side of the path, and the puddle had lots of sharp edges to it. And I looked at it and I'm like, all right, that could be the United States. That could be South America. I literally can put the whole map on it in my imagination.
Right.
And the correlations to the things on the moon, yeah, they're close, but it's not there yet. Someone needs to do it better.
Right. So. Right. And what about the moon? What do you like there's so much. I mean, the moon, what a mystery. So what is your take on the moon?
My belief is that the sun and the moon that we see are projected into what I call the sky screen.
Right.
And the true sun and moon are outside of the firmament.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're being projected in. So that's why when the moon goes new, when there's a new moon,
we're about to have
when there's
tomorrow.
a new moon, correct. My app shows that when there's a new moon, the moon is right in between the sun and the earth in the heliocentric model.
Right.
Right. So if you were on the moon looking at the earth, you'd have a full earth, like a full moon. Right.
Right.
So the amount of earth shine, like moonshine, should be more than 6 times greater than the moonshine is on Earth. But I can be in the middle of nowhere, full moon, and I could read, I could walk, and the moon's casting shadows on the ground. So how come when the moon goes new, no one has ever seen it in less than 40 some odd hours, almost 2 full days?
Right. Yeah.
Right. No airplane, no international fake station, no infrared telescopes, nothing.
Right.
Right. And when there's an eclipse, like if this is the sun, no one ever sees the moon approach the sun or exit the sun. They just see the eclipse happen.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the moon and the sun are being projected in, when there's a new moon, there's nothing to project.
Right.
There's no light to project. So it's not there.
Very interesting. So the sun doesn't actually look like that's what science or whatever says, right? Is that the moon is the reflection of the sun. That's why it has its glow. That's what they're saying. That's what you're talking about.
That's what they say, but
it doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense. The brightness of the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone proves that, this dusty, dirty ball doesn't look like this from Earth.
Yeah. I mean, why isn't it glowing? Why isn't there like something going on?
And the brightness would have to be like 10 million times brighter than this to make it all the way back to Earth at this brightness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
None of that makes sense. Have you ever seen my video on how the eclipse works with my theory?
I may have. I've so much has gone in such a short period of time. I'm not sure.
I've been showing it on a few shows, so I'm going to show it again.
Okay.
All right. So here in the app, can you see the whole app?
Yeah, I love this app.
All right. So let me move this aside. And there we go. Right. That's showing. Okay.
Okay.
So if you go into the frequently asked questions and you click eclipses down on the bottom right, and then I scroll down to this video. So this video have you seen this?
I think I might have seen this.
Yeah, so just for you people that are watching. So on the left is my simulated eclipse. On the right is the eclipse that I filmed. Right? They kind of look the same. You can't see the moon, but something's eclipsing it. Make sense, right?
Yeah, yeah. Something is in front of it.
Yeah. So this is an eclipse somebody filmed, and the one that says not a lens flare, you see how it's attached to the sun?
Yeah.
It's not moving, but it's like eclipsed. Like, what is that? The one that's moving around, that's a lens flare. And the sun itself is eclipsed. It's just so bright you can't tell, but it is eclipsed the same amount as we're seeing on this little guy.
Okay.
Right? So what I did was I recreated the eclipse with a thinner sky screen. So this is how I did the eclipse the first time, right? So there's the projected sun and the new moon behind the firmament, and this is what we see on the other side of the firmament, right? So you never see the moon, it's just doing the eclipse. But then I said, okay, what if I made the sky screen a little more transparent? So here it is with not a paper towel. I use tissue paper. And there's a projector. You can see it through the sky screen. Here comes the eclipse. And what we see is there. And look, there's that little eclipsed. That's the source light. That's the real sun and the real eclipse being projected into our system.
This is mind-boggling. Like, especially knowing, like in astrology, eclipses are very powerful events. Like when there's an eclipse, like shit goes down, people's lives change, like events that you go, oh, that was when this happened, and now it's like this. Like it changes people fundamentally, especially if it hits on an important part of your chart. So there's something very important about an eclipse.
And and think about what the government does. What do they do when there's an eclipse? They give out glasses that blind you to everybody for free. And they tell you, don't look at the sun, you'll go blind. How many people have you heard of that have gone blind from looking at the sun?
None.
None. If you went blind from looking at the eclipse, there'd be tens of millions of people that go blind every time there's an eclipse. There's none. Right.
So why don't they want us to, so you think they don't want us to look at it?
They don't want us to look at it. So if you look at an eclipse, like the light going through through a tree into the shadow on the ground, it's insane what you see. There's like multiple, it's incredible. It's not just a sunlight with part of it blocked. There's something totally different.
Wow.
So my partner Paige and I, we went down to the beach and we stared at the eclipse the entire time with barely, I had sunglasses on a little bit and then no sunglasses. We watched the entire thing, staring at it. Well, my eyesight got better.
Whoa.
And I felt different. I felt energetic. It was amazing. It was really an amazing thing.
Wow.
And then there's people that were afraid to look at the sun, on the screen of their iPhone because they thought they would go blind by looking at their iPhone.
Because that's what they tell us, right? That's what they tell us. That's very cool. I'm gonna approach it differently.
Also, just disclaimer, I do sun gaze, so I'm able to look at the sun, when it's pretty bright. You have to, if it hurts your eyes, turn away.
Right.
You don't want to stare at the sun because you can hurt your eyes.
Right.
But it was the perfect combination of just the right amount of chemtrails to dim it enough where I could stare at it the whole time.
Wow.
And it was the chaos that I saw was incredible.
You saw another level of reality?
I don't know what it is. I don't have the words for it. It was like like how a light, the sun should shine on a leaf, should shine a shadow of a leaf on the ground.
Yeah.
Instead of shining that one shadow, there was 50 leaves moving around each other.
Wow. Like a mushroom trip.
It was very interesting.
Very interesting. So they don't want us to look at the eclipse. They don't want us to. So you don't even think that video I sent you where I thought, well, maybe it's poking into the firmament and then coming out.
Oh, the water. Yeah, that's a great video. The sky is. We believe that space is liquid, and who knows?
Ocean.
Go out, clear your head when the next time you see the moon, and look at it. Especially when it's in the day sky, which it will be for the next week or so.
Yeah.
It's within the Earth system. You could see blue sky beyond it.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it just poking in? Is it projecting in? I don't know.
Have you seen the video with the glitches? I think Crow 777.
Oh, the lunar wave. Yeah.
Yeah. I know quite a few people have filmed that too. Now I've heard. I haven't seen all the different videos.
Are you a subscriber to Crow 777?
No.
Radio?
No.
So when we're done with this, you need to subscribe.
Okay.
And you need to start at the beginning and start listening to every episode.
Okay.
Until you catch up. You have 300 episodes.
Whoa.
To catch up on.
Fun. That's awesome. It's exciting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Better than any college education you can get anywhere with actual useful stuff.
Yeah. So the pole flip thing isn't, because there's a lot of people that have been predicting, and like Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce even spoke about like cataclysmic events. Like
maybe the pole shift is the next time our sun decides to go out. Maybe all of the suns are shifting outwards because a new sun is coming up to be born, right? Underneath the North Star. I don't know.
Yeah. There's so much mystery still. It doesn't like take away the mystery. It just points out that we've been lied to. Like there's still like so much mystery. But I find it interesting too, like that cultures forever knew about the flat earth. Like they act like we've only just known about it for like, how long do they say? 500 years.
2,000 years or whatever, 500 years, whatever it is, but it's all lie. It's all lies.
It must be, because like the Gleason's map, it's like it says right on the Gleason's map that it's like this is true and correct and like scientific and this is how it is. So that was just in 1865 or something, right? Or somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So it must have been like, and then the woman you interviewed, Ruth, she remembered it being taught in school. So that timeline is a lie too.
I started that video and went viral, and I was on a bunch of shows, and it's like, everybody go interview centenarian people, go to old age homes and interview people, and people were getting ready to do that, and then bam, COVID hit. No one's allowed to go to old age homes anymore.
Wow. Okay? Look at you. That's pretty crazy. Like there's another good reason why we should do the whole pandemic, just because we can stop them from talking to the old people. Plus we'll just kill them off like with the vaccines before anyone has a chance.
Right.
Jeez. It's just such a massive deception. Is there any other like information that you think that people should, like it's hard, it's probably like better when people don't believe you, right? Because you have so many, like you have such great answers to all the questions.
Yeah, what's your number? You're already there. Do you have any questions?
Well, it's my husband's questions that because like.
Did you have a
well,
list?
he didn't have a lot of them either. He had like, why doesn't, like from my own, well, he did have, well, I've seen ships disappear over the curve, and that one's easy. I'm like, well, zoom in and then you can see them, right? Like
zoom in and they come right back.
Yeah.
Most of the time. There's more than one reason that they disappear from the bottom up.
Because it could be just atmosphere, right?
You could have the waves that are like right here could block that whole ship, just like my finger can block all of New York City from me.
Right. Right.
So a little wave can block off the bottoms of buildings.
Right.
So in the app under why the ships over the horizon, there's one called The Empty Horizon. It's a great breakdown, like 10-minute video.
Okay.
And if he sits down and watches that and goes, okay, I've been deceived, he'll get it.
Yeah. And then also he says, I've perceived with my own eyes that the sun doesn't shrink. If it was a perspective thing, which you already answered in the email, but if it was a perspective thing, then it should shrink as it gets further and further away.
Well, it does shrink when it gets further and further away under the right conditions, because the atmosphere acts like a lens, especially when there's moisture in it. Right. So as it's going away and getting smaller, the atmosphere is magnifying it and it's getting bigger.
Right.
Right. But when you have super dry, clear conditions, it shrinks and it doesn't go down.
Right. That I've been actually, well, you have to watch the videos, but there is like some people, like I like to research. I'm like, give me the answers. I want to find it. Like I'm a digger, but he's not. So that's the problem, right? If you don't actually want to dig, like my mom is like, won't allow me to talk about the flat earth. She's like, nope, that's enough. Like, I'm not listening. Just shuts me down. Like, I don't want to hear it. That's it. And then just, it's like a frustrating, but I like your approach. I'm sure you've been dealing with it for a while, is to just gently, introduce
There's some
questions.
people you can't, it's like giving a kid advice. Doesn't work unless they ask for it.
Right. Yeah. And your partner, I assume, believes that, or knows with you that
she doesn't believe. She knows.
Yeah, she knows. Yeah, exactly. Because that's what
she knows. We research together every day.
Ah, that's fabulous. Yeah. Do you think you could do what I think would be super cool is if you could do an app with the planets in it too? So like the main wandering stars in the app.
We're working on that. We have to build an API for that. It's very expensive. So
is it?
I'm waiting until I can afford that.
Okay, well, I will definitely buy that app from you because
Well, it'll just be an upgrade to this app. So
oh, good.
You get it for free.
Yay. Because I do, like, I love, it's like even just, like, it was really what clicked, the app really clicked it for me was just to be able to see it, the moving, you know, like the sun and the moon moving over. And it even like the seasons, people are like, well, how do the seasons work if it's not the globe?
Seasons do not work on a globe. There's 4 videos in the app on seasons. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Just watch those and you'll realize it only makes sense on a flat earth.
Yeah, it really does. It makes so much sense too.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes so much sense. And all the stuff, all the mysteries of the earth are made to make sense on a flat earth, which is kind of shocking, right? Like, it makes you realize how ridiculous the lie is. Like the lie that we've been told this whole time about it being a globe. It just seems
Real, right?
Yeah, it just seems kind of ridiculous.
Right.
But this doesn't seem ridiculous to me. Like, this makes sense. It's very logical. Like, and I can prove it, right?
Well,
Like,
and there's plenty of things that we can't prove about the
Right.
flat earth, but
Yeah.
there's plenty of things that we can prove about the globe being impossible.
Right.
Scientifically impossible.
Right. So many things. Yeah, I really do recommend people get your app because it's all like, it's brilliant. Like, you must be so proud of it. Are you proud of it?
Super proud.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. When I made it as a little model for myself, just so when I'm talking to people one-on-one, I could show them
Yeah.
something. And then I just kept adding to it. And then I made it public. And then every time I think I'm done, I keep adding to it. So I haven't slept in 2.5 years since I
Wow.
made it because my guy that does the programming is in India. And if you look at the time zones, you realize that, you know, I'm supposed to be sleeping when he's awake. So
Right. And you have to stay awake to work with him.
yeah.
I just love it. It answers everything, and it's all there because it's really hidden on the internet, right? All this information.
Super.
So
Yeah.
bringing it all together.
They've gone to the turd in the punch bowl method where they just keep uploading garbage and garbage so we can't find any fruit.
Wow.
This bypasses that.
Yeah. But you can still get to, like, if you have a specific link, it's still there, like shadow bound
Oh yeah,
or
it's
whatever
still
they
there.
call it,
So
right?
yeah. So once you play it, if your phone is linked to your YouTube account, it'll be in your history, and then
You can go back and
you
find
can
it.
go there and you can find the channel. You can subscribe to those channels. It's a great way to find information.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I think I'm like, I love it. So thank you for making that and putting all the energy that you put into that. And now
Thanks.
people can learn, especially, like, it's just there. The questions, it's brilliant. I'm excited about the planets coming because that'll be a whole other level for me too. It's just like, I couldn't have seen the sun and like, I could never perceive it on the globe. Like, I couldn't wrap my mind around it. But now, like, it's like, I'm probably a better astrologer now because I can understand the way it all moves around in such a more logical way.
Right.
So yeah, is there anything else? I don't want to keep you if you have any.
No, that's it. I have one more interview. I got a few
Okay.
minutes, but what I tell people is don't believe us. Watch the videos, and
Right.
if videos aren't proof, videos will show you. We'll show you demonstrations, illustrations, actual video. We've done the experiments for you. We document them so you can see that they're real.
Right.
And you can go out and do them yourself. When I first heard about this, I went out and bought a P900 camera. And I went to the water. I'm like, okay, that buoy is 11 miles away. Well, 10 miles is 66 feet of curvature. I sat at the water's edge and I zoomed in, and there was the buoy that I'd never seen before.
Wow.
Without a zoom lens.
Right.
I'm like, it should be behind 60 feet of a hump of water, and it's right
Right.
there.
Right. So was it just a click for you? Like, was it just a sudden?
It was 2
Greg,
weeks of
2 weeks.
wow. There's a problem with the globe.
Right.
And so then I started doing my own observations, and then I'm like, it's flat, and I kept quiet about it. I'm like,
Yeah. Smart.
it's going to discredit everything I've done.
Yeah. Yeah. You
But
said
then I brought it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's one that people have a hard time with. All big rockets are balloons.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that goes to Elon Musk as a liar.
Oh my
Right?
God. He's a puppet. Look at this. This
But he's a
is 4
rogue puppet.
million pounds.
Yeah.
Is this 4 million pounds, or is this a bouncy house filled with helium?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like that, that's another hard one for people to believe because, Elon Musk, but he's kind of a rogue too. Like he's a bit of a
Elon
wild
is
card, I
a
think.
puppet. He's a puppet. Knows nothing about anything. He is the CEO of nothing. This is a projection. Okay, this isn't real. There's nobody here.
Yeah, like is there not people on the ground that see the launches?
They're never close. They always show you cutaways to people, but they're 10 miles away. 10 miles
Right.
is forever.
Yeah.
And then there was a CGI glitch with this projection, and the top half of the rocket disappears. Ready? There it goes.
Wow.
Something went
so
wrong.
it's a projection.
Well,
Wow.
not always.
Yeah. 'cause
Sometimes
it
they launch a
balloons.
balloon.
Right.
Sometimes it's a holographic projection. Sometimes it's a miniature. Sometimes they launch nothing.
Wow.
And it's all, different techniques. So you can never really figure it out. It's very difficult to figure it out.
Do you think that like Tesla is also like that's not him either, or is that him?
Elon Musk, you mean?
Yeah.
I believe that that's a person, but he didn't develop anything.
No.
He's just a front man. Teslas are pretty cool cars.
Yeah.
Apple's coming out with a car. Who knows? Electric cars are pretty cool.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
But the whole thing about electric cars is, in the fossil fuel world, it's worse because you're burning more fossil fuels to make that electricity. The thing is, there's free energy everywhere.
Right.
Have you looked into the large
Those
aircraft?
No.
Large jets don't use fuel.
No.
Yeah. They
Really?
Yeah. They use pressurized air.
What?
Yeah.
And they don't tell us that?
Yeah. So they don't tell us because the amount of fuel that they say they use is impossible. There's no room for it in the wings.
Right.
And the amount it would weigh, none of it makes any sense.
Wow. So there's another lie. So they're flying around in planes that are using the
Maybe
free
they're
energy.
using a little bit of fuel for startup, for takeoff, maybe. Small planes do use fuel. Small jets do use fuel.
Right.
But the big jets, these big, the Airbus 380 or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
impossible.
Wow. That's just crazy. Is there any more secrets that I should know about? Any more things?
Too many.
Too many.
I'm not going to bring them up because I don't want to overload you.
Right. Okay. Well, it's just fascinating. I got a lot to look up and a lot to learn because this is just more fascinating. So it is. Have you heard that like this is the time of the Great Awakening?
It is. It's amazing.
It feels like that, right? Are you having things like that as well where like where it's just your mind's being blown by things that you're discovering right now?
Every day.
Every day, hey? It's exciting, right? It's an exciting time to be alive.
Sure.
I mean, what more could there be? I guess it can just keep going.
I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah. Is it? Oh yeah, it is Friday. I work from home. It all just blurs together now, but yes, it's Friday. Thank God. Didn't have to change anything. So yeah, I guess that I don't want to keep you. I'm so grateful you came on and shared what you know, or what you knew.
Check out my YouTube channel, DITRH, the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and my podcast, my website, and my Instagram are the Flat Earth Podcast.
Okay, great.
Okay. And don't forget to get the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock Cap by Blue Water Bay. Look for this little icon.
It's wonderful.
Get the knockoff. So you need a Android 8.0 or higher, or an iPhone 6 or better.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on, Dave. It was really fabulous to talk to you. You really are part of like a whole revelation period for me. So I greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Hillary.
So I hope that you enjoyed that conversation between David and I. I am absolutely kind of just down the rabbit hole of all things flat earth right now. So I thought that you might enjoy hearing the expert talk. He knows much about it. And do get his app, the Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Flat Earth Clock app by Blue Water Bay, because it'll make your research into everything flat earth so much easier. It gathers all the resources you need so you don't have to chase it down. It's all right there. And they are hiding this information too. So it's tricky to find. It's much appreciated to have it all in one space. I love it. I love this app, which is why I was inspired to invite David on the show to talk about all things flat earth. So I hope you enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you have a most blessed week ahead. Thank you for listening.